everybody, Mike Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby Supply. Today we're going to do a little how-to on selecting transformers for your accessories on your layout. So, let's get started. Okay guys, what I would say about the phone calls that I constantly get about powering accessories around your layout with DCC or DC. The first concept that you need to grasp is it's okay to run accessories off of a DC power pack that has accessory terminals. However, there is no DCC system out there that has such a thing. So my rule of thumb is any accessory that you hook to a DC transformer, anytime you start adding things to that accessory lug, the accessory lugs on your DC power pack, you start robbing power that's designed to power your trains. So my rule of thumb is to always power your accessories from some other power source or some other transformer. So what I've done around my layout is my little lighting, not that I have a lot of accessories, but all my little lighting features and all my stuff is all powered by a separate, what's commonly referred to as a wall wart. A wall wart would be something like this that plugs into a wall socket, okay? And it can be from anything under the sun. It can be from a cell phone charger, it can be from a laptop charger, it can be from any kind of tool charger, a battery charger for an old electric drill or something that doesn't work. What I do is, and you can find these at garage sales, yard sales, Goodwill stores, whatever, and you can buy them dirt cheap, but I get people calling me all the time wanting to pay 20, 30 bucks for a power supply, and really, you don't need it. Here's what I do. This box is completely full of old power supplies, okay? And I keep them on hand, and I'm just going to pull a few out here at random. I got an interesting call this morning from a real good customer of ours. I won't mention names, but he had a friend who bought one of the new Broadway Limited sound and moving water towers in HO. I went online, it takes a 12-volt power supply. It just says takes 12-volt DC. Well, it's not going to take very much amperage to run that, so just about anything that puts out 12 volts DC is going to work with that. Just keep in mind DC, okay, if you need something that needs DC. So I'm going to just pull one out here. This particular transformer is from Sound Design, and I'm only assuming that it was an old, well, it says it's a radio. It was off of an old radio. It is 120 volt, of course. It puts out 6 volt DC, okay? So if I had a light bulb or something, an incandescent light bulb that I wanted to power with this, and I only wanted 6 volts going to it to make it dimmer, I would use this transformer. Or if I had a whole group of LEDs with resistors, I could hook a bunch of them to this transformer. It puts out 200 milliamps. So I don't know how many LEDs I could run on it. I'd run them on it until it wouldn't run them anymore, okay? I'm not an electrician. Here's another one. It's an odd looking one. It says it's a class 2 power supply. It puts out 15 volts DC at 1000 milliamps. So if you had something, say you had switch machines or something that you wanted to throw, such as the Katos for instance, this 15 volt DC would be perfect to throw those Kato switches if you were using toggle switches or something. Or you could even run this through the DC, even though this is DC, you could run it through the DC converter to attach to the Kato turnout machines. But since it's momentary, 15 volts will not hurt those, even though I think it recommends 12 to 14 volts or something. But certainly this could be used in place of connecting them to your power pack. So I just keep an assortment in here. I haven't run across a 12 volt one. Here's an Archer, an old Archer adapter, and you can see that I've cut the cord off and I've actually hooked a piece of wire to it. So I've had something attached, an accessory attached to this before. My guess is on this particular one, since it's 9 volts DC and 300 milliamps, I believe I once had this attached to all my Tortoise switch machines on one of my previous layouts. because I liked running them at 9 volts instead of 12 volts because it just made them slower, you know, made them throw slower. So I guess what I'm getting at is I get all these guys that are really hung up on wanting to spend big bucks on something that I sell through the shop, when you could easily go to a Goodwill store or something and pick one of these up. Look around through a bin. They probably got a bin just like this one, full of these things, or a garage sale or anything of that nature. And look for what you need. And you know, you could put a power strip up and put 6 or 7 of these on a power strip and feed a whole bunch of different areas of your layout individually. So, you know, if you had accessories that require different power sources or different voltages, or AC versus DC. I can't think of anything that requires AC off the top of my head. Most of the stuff we deal with is DC. But still, the point is that you can find these. And I haven't paid for one of these, okay? I'm just trying to save you some money here and some aggravation. All you got to look for is make sure it's the voltage you need. This one's 200 milliamp. It's Kyocera. It's a cell phone charger, an old cell phone charger. It is 3 volts DC, 200 milliamp. I have a relatively large one here that's 18 to 24 volts. I don't know what I would use it for, but I saved it, and it's 1 amp, an entire amp. You could actually maybe power a DC system off of this. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what kind of input voltage they take, but don't do it. I'm just saying until you know. But you can find them. Let me dig down in here a little more and find some odd ones. See if I can find some odd ones. Here's one that just says AC-DC adapter. It says it does DC 8 volts, 200 milliamps. There again, I'm going to go back to, I'm not an electrician, so figuring out milliamps and how many light bulbs you can run on it or how many LEDs you can run on it is not my bag, okay? But my recommendation is hook them up until it won't run them anymore, then get you another one of these and attach it to the rest of your lights and keep going. Because really, if it doesn't have enough milliamps, what it's going to do is just draw the amperage down until they don't light or they start getting dim. And you'll be able to tell that. So you just put so many of them on whatever power supply you have, then move on, put another power supply on, and move on and do some more lighting. But anyway, I hope that this video kind of, like I say, I'm not an electrician, so I'm sure it doesn't clear up much in your head about voltages and things like that. But I'm just trying to point out that you can get a whole supply of these things for next to nothing, generally from just appliances and things that you throw away, and throw away the power supply. Never throw a wall wart away. Always keep it. I've got one here that that's the one we looked at before. Here's another 9-volt power supply. I probably don't have too many in here that are 12 volts at the moment because I probably used them all. Here's one. It is a Action Tech power adapter. God knows where it came from. 10 volts DC, 1.6 amps. Even though this is only 10 volts DC, it looks strangely familiar to me. It looks almost like the Digitrax PS14. But 10 volts would probably run something that runs on 12 volts. So, you know, you just have to play around with them. You can find them anywhere. I've got bunches of them in here, and that's the whole point of the video, guys. So, since I've gotten a lot of questions, I'm going to post this and let you guys make up your own mind whether you want to spend $30 for a transformer, or you want to go out and find one for 10 cents or whatever, or sometimes you might have one in your house. But anyway, it's just a tip and sort of a how-to on powering your accessories. And the other thing, in case I didn't mention it, and I think I did at the beginning of the video, is you never want to, or I make it a habit never to power your accessories off of anything that runs your train. Always power it off of something else. And that brings up another point. Excuse me for just a minute. Well, what I was going to say here is that don't be afraid to take an old power pack if you've moved on to DCC don't be afraid to take an old power pack and use that power pack for AC output and a DC output, because you're not running any trains off it. But why sell it on eBay for $2, or why throw it in the trash, or why have it sit on a shelf and collect dust? I have a power supply over here that runs my little ore train. You guys have seen the ore train running back and forth. It's a little Rail Power 1300. I use it just to make that little train go back and forth and work the electronic circuit that operates that train. So there's always a use for a DC power pack on almost any layout, even if you're running DCC. So keep that in mind as well. You know, never give your old power packs away, because they're always useful for something. But anyways, I hope you guys have found this one short, which is good, and a little bit informative. And as always, guys, we'll see you next time.